South African Minister for Basic Education, Motshekga, told CNBC Africa that the country's matric certificate remains sufficiently competitive. In an interview for tonight's Political Exchange, I asked her how the department is working on measures to improve the quality of teaching to meet international standards.
You need to be very scientific when you make such serious statements and allegations. You need to be very scientific. Unfortunately, I can't even claim that I improved the standards. Minister Pando, when she was in office, she removed the standard grade, which was always been there in the system. So there's nothing like standard grade. She removed even the lower grade, which was there, in order to improve the system. To say standards have been dropped, I didn't even interfere with the assessment. So she actually raised the standard during her term. And the allegations that the Johnsons and them are making suddenly, when they have been advisors of the department for years, they're just not founded, because if you say the quality of education has been dropped, we have to say in which sense.
Let's talk about maths and science.
Let me tell you, our exams are benchmarked internationally with your top assessment bodies. So what more will you do unless benchmarking with the best? You, as I say, the percentages that you're talking about, and again, it's just riding on a bandwagon without looking, and which is what sometimes I find disappointing with journalists. You can't go to university with less than 50% pass. So your bachelor's degree, they don't even talk about it. There are 3 levels of pass in your matric. You have your bachelor's degree, you have your diploma, which is at 40%, then you have national senior certificate, which that's where you pass with 39%, and so. And it's always been there. And it's kids who can go and do secretarial course, who can do something. Nothing has dropped. Actually, we've raised the standards. So to really this bandwagon to say we've dropped standards, it can't be true. The fact that kids fail at universities, which we'll find from universities, why are kids not coping? Perhaps they're not, let me consider, maybe they're not well prepared, but also conditions. Minister Blade will tell you, the fact that poor kids don't even have accommodation at universities, it's a big problem. The fact that there are quite a number of factors also which are at higher institutions, which we have to really get into the play to understand why kids are failing. I'll tell you, maybe when I went to university from a Catholic school, it was free at last. It was quite nice to sleep and not get anybody to ask me to go to university. It's also not only academic preparation, but also it's life orientation. That even from home or from where you come from, to come from an extremely strict environment, suddenly you are here, no one is waking you up. Even if you don't go, no one is asking you. You're just free at last. And by the time you recover, the year is over. So it has nothing to do with how you were prepared.
Minister, let's come back to the question of math and science. Of course, given the fact that we have a global economy where technology is moving so fast, the world of work is changing. Are you confident that the maths and science areas that we tackle at your level, where you're responsible from foundational level to matric, that it is of world class and standard, and that kids who have math and science at matric will be able to study competitively, not just at universities in South Africa, but indeed elsewhere in the world?
It is. That's why we even go and benchmark ourselves where we
But we score very badly,
exactly.
Minister.
And it means, and that's why we have to understand the concept of quality. Our curriculum, it's at an international level. Our struggle, it's not the quality of education, it's to take our kids to reach that quality level. So that in terms of what we offer as a curriculum, it's well standard. The struggle is then being able to reach. So there's no question about the quality of our education. The question is the struggle to reach that ceiling that we have put. And that's why we're able to go and compete internationally and maybe fail where we fail. But it means we are benchmarked properly.
But Umar, you see, every year when the matric results come out, they warn about the fact that we're not doing well in math and science,
exactly.
that our rates are not where it should be. What is it that you are planning to do to get us from where we are now to where we ought to be?
As long as we understand that there is nothing wrong with the quality of our education, what is wrong is our ability to reach that standard.
And what is preventing us from reaching that standard?
It's the quality of teaching in our classrooms. It's as I say, especially, you will have seen with the grade 9 results. It's the wrong focus that we've been having, as you say. We've been focusing on grade 9s and doing very little to build a solid foundation. And that's why we're focusing and putting lots of energy in your ECD, your foundation phase, your intermediate. I assessed for the first time the grade 9s last year to say even the senior phases we prepare so that we really put the pressure right through the system. And that's what has been the weakness in our system, that we've just not been paying lots of attention on the foundation phase and have been giving lots of focus in there. So what we're doing is to really ramp up. That's why we're flooding the system with workbooks, with the books. We say it's for the first time in the history of this country that we can confidently say there's going to be a book per child. It's never happened. We used to give books to teachers only. Right? And others, if books are there, there will be 10 books for 100 kids. So and that's why we're improving even the supply of our resources. We're focusing a lot on teacher development and teacher training, and really making sure that even the assessments, because if you look at the assessment qualities that were there in the different phases, most teachers denied when we said grade 9s are at 13% because they were assessing them lower than what they were supposed to be assessed at that level. And that's why we're focusing on making sure that our teachers understand what are the assessment requires phase by phase and grade by grade.